Hi, baddies. Welcome back to another episode of Tara's Baddies Club. I am your host, Tara Newell, and I am so excited to have today's guest. I have Erin Ramsey coming on today from You're Such a Catch podcast. She has also branded herself as You're Such a Catch, and I love her content. I love her page. She is so inspiring, and she is truly an inspiration for women all around, especially for anyone that is in need of finding love or has gone through a health journey. Today, we're going to talk about explant removal and then also dating and relationships in LA. But before we get started, just a heads up that this episode was recorded over a year and a half ago. I have been dealing with some stuff, getting over that breakup, and that truly kind of shows in this interview, I will say. And I'm very thankful to be able to talk to her and have her compassion and also just hear, like, have, just listen to me tell a couple of stories about my ex. And I did meet her through an event that me and my ex were together. So it did bring up things in the moment. And I think that's why it took a while for me to edit this episode because I really did miss him at the time. And so this was a hard one to talk about, a hard one to edit, but I am in such a different place now. I have been out of that relationship for a while now and I've had so much healing now. So I'm very grateful for that time, that healing journey. I also have a new boyfriend now. So it's a different life than it was a year and a half ago. So just a heads up for that. And then also we have our podcasting course coming up in September, starting September 1st. It's going to be amazing. We have 8 weeks of lives. And there's so many videos. There's over 113 exclusive videos. So if you've ever thought about wanting to tell your story, put it in a podcast format, do a YouTube format for it, or you're a creator and want to know and learn about ethics, this is the place for you to join. So let's get into this episode with Erin. Hi, Erin. Welcome to Tara's Baddies Club. I'm so excited to have you here today because we met in Malibu.
We did. Yes. I'm so happy to be here today.
Yes, and you're just so energetic. I've been following you for a while. I remember meeting you and also telling you that I had a lot of friends in Bachelor Nation and you had a podcast about the Bachelor world and dating, right?
Yes. You're such a catch.
Yes.
Yep.
The branding is on point. You have lots of great hats made. You have merch still, right?
Yes. I came up with my caps and they have affirmations on the inner band that go right over your prefrontal cortex to remind you that you are enough.
I love it. I love it. It's over a specific brain region.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So
Soaking it all
we
in.
met in Malibu and you were doing your podcast then. Yes. And it was funny because Collier was running around helping everyone, getting our podcast together. I wasn't with him then. So my manager was also pimping him out with like you and everyone else.
It was so kind of chaotic. So I was sharing with you, it was literally my first day after having like a major surgery that I was out and about. So I think I had been like in recovery for maybe like a week, but I really wanted to make that event. And so, but I couldn't like drive myself there or whatnot. So I had a friend, take me there. And then I don't know what I was thinking, but you're not supposed to lift heavy things. And so now I'm like the last one to arrive. Like everybody's set up. There aren't, outlets for mics and, chargers and everything to be plugged in. And I'm like, what am I going to do? So he fully saved the day for me. Yeah. Or else I wouldn't have been able to record anything.
Yes. And then we ended up meeting and then just talking, chit-chatting, but I feel like it was so chaotic we didn't get to like sit down and have a full-on conversation.
Right. Yeah. And I think after that, like I just started following you on social, and then we would like communicate in DMs, and I always loved your content, and that's how we kind of like built a friendship.
Yes, yes. I feel like that's how so many of my friends are made. I don't know about you.
Which is like such a blessing about social media, right? I mean, I have like, I don't know if you do this, but like I have friends I've never met in real life that I only know from social media, that like one day when we actually meet, it's going to be so epic. But it is true. Like you can really cultivate a relationship with somebody, a friendship with somebody, like through social media. And that's like the point of it. It's not to like
Yes.
work an algorithm or do all these other things. It's like to cultivate community and relationships, and it can be done.
Yes, yes. And you do so many great things. I love your Instagram as well because you have such a positive vibe, but you also talk about hard stuff sometimes. And, you know, I love that you shared your journey with even working out, getting better, and removing your explants as well. I didn't bring this up, but now that you brought it up, I just think it's important to talk about it because so many women out there go and get implants and I personally have implants, but mine are saline, and those
Mm-hmm.
are supposed to be quote unquote like a little bit better for your body in a sense, less toxic. Uh,
Yeah, mine were
yeah.
actually saline too, but I think the outer coating, for lack of a better word, I don't know the like professional term, might have been silicone. But the interesting thing about it is, like nobody really gets implants because like our self-esteem is through the roof, right? We get them to make ourselves feel better or to boost our confidence or whatnot. So it was such a big deal for me to have them removed because I didn't know if I could truly be accepting of my body without them. And it's so interesting also, like I could have been willing to continue to risk my health because of it. So I had been having like a lot of health issues, and I had gone to like all the best doctors, Cedars, UCLA, and seeing like the best of the best. And nobody could really figure out my, what condition I had. I mean, they checked me for everything, for like RA and like lupus, like all these things, and then I heard a podcast actually about somebody who had their implants removed, and they were like, overnight, all my symptoms, like, basically like went away, or, within a reasonable time. And I'm like, interesting. And all these times I've ever been to the doctor, nobody's ever brought them up or said maybe this could be the catalyst of it all, And so I kind of did my own research, and there was a Facebook group online of other women who were doing that. And I kept looking at the different women's posts, what they were experiencing, and like what the results were after. And then you know how like the universe works and things just kind of like drop into place like when they're supposed to. So this was during the pandemic, and one of my good friends, Leah, she was working in a plastic surgeon's office leading up into the pandemic. And she's like, that's what, Dr. Strawn is like known for. Like, that's the surgery that he performs. And I was like, no, I didn't know that. And I was like, well, let me get in a consult with him or whatever. Of course I like call the office, and it's like an 8-month wait. And she's like, oh, no, Erin, like, let me just text him. So she texted him, and then I got in right away. And like his office staff was lovely. Like, actually one of the nurses had just had the process done on herself and was super happy with the results. And so after much deliberation, because it's really a mental thing to process for yourself, I decided to do it. And it was wild. Literally within 48 hours, I had really bad cystic acne. My acne was all gone. It was absolutely insane. Like, I had gained a ton of weight. I couldn't lose weight no matter what I did, like going to the gym or working out, which is also why I'm, more sharing that journey now. And it's just crazy things with my metabolism and, my hormones and all the things, my digestive issues, like gone. Wild.
That is wild to me. And so, did it happen after? I have so many questions, and I'm sorry because now I would didn't bring you on and be like, we're gonna talk about explant removal.
I know. I mean, things happen, and here we are.
Yeah. Well, I asked my friend Crystal, she's had them removed before. She was actually on Survivor Squad and she talked a little bit about that too. And then my friend Amanda Stanton, she's had hers removed recently. And then it's just my friend Lacey. So many of my girlfriends are getting them removed. And
Mm-hmm.
there are some days like I hate to say this. I love my tits.
Yeah. I know, trust me, I do miss the way they look and how my clothes felt. And also, like, I love not having to like wear a bra places. Like, you know what I mean? Like, wait, like within reason, you know what I mean? Like, but like sometimes it's just nice. Like, you put on a sundress and you're like, I'm good. And like, I can't necessarily do that anymore. But at the same time, like, for me, it was something that I had to at least try for my health, and like my health benefits obviously outweigh that. But yes, definitely there are things that I miss for sure.
Oh my gosh. Did it happen at like a certain point? Like I know some of my friends say, okay, when it gets to a certain age that's when you really see the symptoms.
You know, I don't really know, because I had been kind of like functioning but like dealing with a lot of symptoms for a really long time. Like the primarily like fatigue and digestive issues, and sometimes like skin irritations, or like
Okay.
in my case also with like, acne. And I'm like, dude, I paid my dues when I was a teenager. Like, I don't want to pay them again when I'm in my 40s. And it's like, I'm going also to the dermatologist, getting like every, cream, salve, like pill under the sun. And at a certain point you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm also putting all this stuff like into my body and also on your skin that absorbs it all. And like, what am I doing? Because it's like a band-aid, right? It's slapping a
Yeah.
band-aid on it versus finding the root cause. So I can't really attribute like I hit a certain point and then I'm like, oh, that's it. It's just, I had gone through all those doctors, and also again, like, I do kind of think they were like the best of the best. They were like highly recommended, or they're at like we're lucky, like in LA, we have access to these, really great hospitals and things. And nobody could like figure it out. It was like a mystery. And again, it would be, like the GI specialist would slap a band-aid on it and be like, I think it could be this, or, or I did a nutritionist for a while. Like, I went to an endocrinologist, like I did all these different things. Right. And just none of them were moving the needle until I tried this. And then now, like health wise, like I don't want to look back. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I want to like enjoy all the moments of like being able to eat food and go out and have dinner and not like have problems, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And yeah, and also like I think in the line of work that we do, and also as a salesperson, when I go into a room and I'm pitching a product and my face is all broken out, like my confidence is low. I don't feel as if like, my audience might take me seriously. And, I just hated having to show up that way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that can be really daunting, especially if you're like trying to also fix it and it's not fixing itself. And then you're like getting inflamed even from that because you're stressing about it. Like, I had a friend, one of my best friends, she had cystic acne at one point, and it's crazy for her because she was vegan.
Wow. Uh-huh.
And then she started eating meat again, all went away.
No way. That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Interesting. Hmm.
Yeah. So for her,
Yeah.
it was something different, and like for
Yeah.
everyone, I'm not going to go say, eat a steak.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the tricky thing about the human body too, is like the human body is so cool and so complex, but like what might be true for me is different for you. And, but I met this other gal at the gym the other day who has implants, and she's been to the doctor, had a lot of fatigue issues. And I can't remember what she told me. She like went, I think, deaf in one ear. Like she had all these like weird, bizarre things. And I just said to her, like, have you ever considered like, and she did, like, it wasn't even, that had never even crossed her mind. Right. Which was also kind of how I was. Not even a doctor had brought that to my attention. And so I just mentioned it to her, and I was like, you do you and you do what's best for you, but like maybe just explore this path, because if you've done everything else and you're having these crazy things happen to you, and by all other standards you're like healthy, because she is at the gym, like I see her there all the time, like maybe it's worth exploring. So yeah, so she made herself an appointment to just explore what could be.
Yeah, well, it's crazy since we live in LA. You think that doctors would be to par with things and be like, okay, that's implant illness now, especially since, this is like the holy mecca where it started, basically getting boobs
Right.
and like butts and chins and all this stuff.
All the things,
We only
right?
had the boobs, right?
Luckily, I'm kind of blessed in the booty department, because I don't think I could go through that surgery.
Oh
I'll
my
do my
God.
squats and my hip thrusts,
You've been working out. Like when you work out, like you could really build a booty that way too.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think you have to eat like a lot of protein and, be consistent, but it's not going to give you a BBL overnight. But yeah,
Oh my
I'm just
gosh.
like, think of myself, and I'm a wimp. So like with surgery and stuff, anything to avoid it, no, thank you. Some
This
people aren't. Some people, are like, they bounce back,
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't like the needles. I
Okay.
don't really like the fact that I'm getting cut into either. That doesn't, but the afterwards about just like having time and no one's expecting you to do stuff, that just is like so nice to me.
I'll give you permission to fake it then, so you don't have to go through a procedure, but you just get the recovery.
I attack.
Mhm.
That's when I got my boobs done because I also
Oh, really?
yeah, my sister, she worked for a plastic surgeon, and so I got them done through him. Oh, we could do it, we cannot do it, and I was just like, let's just do it. It seems like fun. I did not get my boobs for the other reason other girls do. I mean, I just kind of fell into it, and then I didn't want to go back to work, so I was like, yeah, let's get surgery.
Let's do it. This has a, 2 to 3 week recovery. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I just don't have to go back and work with dogs. And a part of like and I love dogs, but it came to a point where it triggered me, so I don't want to
Oh,
go back yet.
yeah. Yeah. You're like, I need more time, which is
Yeah.
totally understandable.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
boobs.
Yeah. So boobs. Boobs is a
Yeah.
great alternative.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, working out in that journey, I feel like you're just like looking at your photos, looking at your past too. The inflammation in your body has even gone down so much.
Absolutely. It's wild, honestly. And I mean, that's also, I think, a decision that I made kind of consciously in the last year and a half, was to kind of like drink less, because I felt like also I had a really like good habit of, going out on the weekends and really binge drinking, which also then led me to eating, not the greatest of food choices, which at some point it actually clicked in my brain, like, if you're going to invest all this time in the gym and Monday through Friday you're trying to eat high protein and do all these things to help your health, then why do you go ham on the weekends and like feel the need to rip tequila shots and then go eat like a carne asada burrito afterwards? Like, what is that? Like, what is that? But isn't it funny? Like, I don't know, like it just wasn't computing, and that was my life, and all the things. And so yeah, like, I mean, a lot of things have changed within the last couple of years, just really working on myself and trying to not only talk the talk but walk the walk. So my brand, You're Such a Catch, is all about like loving the woman that I see back in the mirror, right? And I want other women to recognize that they're worthy and they're beautiful, and they're imperfectly perfect just the way they are. Like, not after they lose 10 pounds, or not after they get their eyebrows waxed or whatever. Like today, in the moment, like we're all worthy, we're all enough, we're all beautiful, and we're all unique, we're all an original masterpiece. And it's like, if that's the message that I'm spreading, like I need to truly be embodying it and living it myself. So I think that started a lot of healing work. So thinking back, when did I start to lose my confidence, right? Like when did I have self-doubt about, my appearance or things like that? And it takes me back to, my childhood. So when I was in high school, I was a victim of sexual assault. And I think that was like the first situation that I can recall where immediately afterwards, I kept it all inside. So that wasn't healthy for myself. I tried to process, but back then, like, your brain isn't fully developed. So you cope as best as you can. And then I think it just compounds, right? And it also plays a role in the future decisions that you make. And then in my early 20s, I got married, and I come from a family where nobody's divorced. Like, my grandparents were married for 74 years until my grandpa passed away, or they'd still be married today. My parents are married, my aunts and uncles, everybody's married, and like actually happily, not just staying together because it's convenient. But so then it was like, now I have this other, whether it be whatever I classified it or labeled it as, like rejection or shame or not feeling worthy. I started wearing like that around, and it's like, what is that? Like, no, and so I think it's been an evolution, and it started like on my podcast because, I've been looking for love. And I think in the beginning, I was thinking it was all external. Like, I was thinking a dating or relationship expert was going to come on and give me this like golden nugget that I was going to cling to, and then it was going to answer all my prayers. And what I learned through that is, sure, I think there are dating and relationship experts that have solid advice and can really help you. But until you're able to truly love yourself, like, you're not really ready to receive love. And a lot of us too, who are in that place, even when love presents itself, will like reject it, right? And that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, some people just love the bad boys. I mean, I love the bad boys too. But the people that I have really been in long-term relationships, I wouldn't say like they're necessarily bad boys.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, those are bad boys,
Right. Yeah, and I think sometimes too, like, we make decisions from the wrong place, right? Like, I'm guilty of it myself. Like, sometimes you want to be in a relationship so bad, you like forego and don't pay attention to the red or pink flags that are right in front of you. And, then in 6 months, you're like, well, of course this ended up the way it did, like, because he showed me X, Y, and Z at hello. And I chose to be like, no, that's not what it is. And it's like, no, that is what it is. And so I've been really trying, as I approach dating, like at this stage of life, to, when somebody shows you who they are, to believe them and not to like think about them in terms of potential, but to be like, okay, who are they in this present moment? I'll give you good examples. I matched with a gentleman on Hinge the other night, and we messaged back and forth, and then we exchanged phone numbers. And on Friday night, he said, like, let's have a phone date. And I was like, great, that sounds wonderful. So I had a nail appointment in the evening. And so he's like, well, what time will you be available? So I said, how about like 7:45 or 8? He says, sure, let's do 7:45. So 7:45 rolls around. I'm back from my nail appointment. I messaged him like, is now still a good time? He says, I need 15 minutes. No problem. Call me whenever you're free, right? Okay, he has not called, and he has not texted to say like whatever. And so my old self probably would have like given him the benefit of the doubt and waited for him to reach out and then like schedule something else, like a different call or whatever, like a different day, different time. And this time I'm like, no, because it's not that hard to tell somebody like, I committed to this, but you know what, like I'm actually out with my friends or I'm doing whatever and it's just not convenient. Can we, and then offer up something else? Or I mean, there's so many different ways you can handle that, right? And so I'm like,
Yeah.
no, like if he's presenting at hello that he can't keep a commitment and also can't communicate, then what are we doing here? I don't want to wake up 6 months from now and be like, oh, that's funny. He's not communicating with it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
let's call a spade and we move on, So,
Yeah.
yeah.
100%. Yeah, no. And I feel like some people, it's really easy for, say, us to move on if, like, you haven't really had a lot of interactions with that person, you know?
Uh-huh.
Like, I say for me, it takes me at least like 6 months for me to fully get like engaged and be like, I don't want you to leave me.
Yeah. And I think that is a different, like, I'm approaching dating now from a perspective that instead of like, again, I used to see the potential, right? So like I might in my head have already been like 10 steps down the road with this guy because I'm like, oh, he looks great from his profile and we have all these things in common and he's actually close in proximity to me and da da da. But now I'm like, we're two strangers that haven't even had a conversation. Like, there's no need to get emotionally invested in him until it's time to like get emotionally invested in him, like, right? And so I
Yeah.
think that's like a difference too in just how I choose to like approach it now versus before. Because before, I'd already be like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be my like baby daddy. I'm like, yes, I found him. And then God knows, then I'd get ghosted or he'd unmatch me or something, and then I'd be like devastated. And I'm like, why? Like, and it means nothing. Like, it means nothing when somebody does that. It's about them, right? It's not about you. So it's just so funny. Dating is a whole beast in and of itself.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, okay, I might lie a little bit. Like the guys that are not like consistent and stuff, the guys that are like, okay, like I love big YouTubers apparently.
So you have a type.
Well, like YouTubers, entertainment industry. I love that type. I mean, like if you're 6'2", that is a plus. Tattoos on your arm, that's great too. But I like went on a date with this guy that was a YouTuber, and like the date was great. It was amazing. But the first, what's funny is on the date he tells me he's avoidant,
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
he's also a relationship coach.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but the date was great. Like cute bumpsies. I
So
don't.
did it scare you off when he said that he's an avoidant? Like, did it make you go like, did it put up a pink flag or anything? Like, or were you just like, okay, that's nice that he's in tune with, his attachment style?
So I like the fact that he told me about it, but I also don't like maybe it was like the first date, but it also
Mm-hmm.
was helpful because this is what happened. We went
Okay.
on a first date. It was
Uh-huh.
great, like cute bumpsies. We took like walks around the corner. We went to a bar, even though we don't like, I didn't drink and then he didn't get a drink. We got like Coca-Colas, and it was just like fabulous. And like he was just like cute accents, like London accent and stuff.
Mm.
And then we like, talk a little bit the next day, like, and then he never like plans a second date. And it was great, amazing. And I was just like, oh my God, that guy was so great. He was a YouTuber, he's a relationship coach. But I think sometimes like we fall into the idea of them.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
that potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, of what could be. Yeah, for sure. I think it's easy to do, right? It's easy to see the potential and the good in people and to go, "Oh my gosh," and then to build the story in your head. Oh yeah. I'm a
Yeah.
creative writer.
Yes. So, I mean, I still do that too, you know?
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's like as long as we're aware, I think, of it. I think that's the most important thing, right? Like, we can't help who we are, and we're growing and we're learning every day. But if we can also like have awareness around it, and then like, use that awareness to kind of help us navigate what happens next, I think that's where like the difference is.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, what do you do to stay true in yourself and also make sure that you're the first priority, that you're the catch?
I love that question. I think what I've learned to do, and it's been through so many different things, is learning how to like be my own best friend and to be really content in my own company, right? So therefore, I don't feel a loneliness or a desire to entertain things that aren't in alignment with what I truly want out of life. And I don't necessarily think that's an easy thing to do. And I think it's like almost like a decision that you make every single day. But I'm the type of person who likes to set goals and likes to go for goals. And then, once I achieve them, like, set something else. And I think it's interesting. So there was a time where there were things that I wanted to do. Like, for instance, I love going to football games and I love traveling and going to the away football games, but I didn't have like a partner to go and do that with. Right. And so it was 2018. And I distinctly remember I'm sitting at a bar with my girlfriends and they're like, Erin, what's stopping you from just going by yourself? And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, going by myself, like I'm going to fly to London by myself and go to this game. They're like, well, you really want to go. Like, what's actually stopping you? And I'm like, wow, like they're posing a really great question. And what is stopping me? And so I, kind of challenged myself, put myself outside my comfort zone. I studied abroad in London, so I didn't feel like apprehensive about going there. But like, there's something to be said about like showing up to a major sporting event like by yourself and like booking a hotel in another country like by yourself and like just navigating all the things that go with that. Like, of course, if you had a partner or a friend that like truly enjoys that, it would be like added value, right? But like, should I not allow myself that experience just because I don't have somebody to do it with? And so I think that moment of making that decision and like giving that gift to myself, like it was so magical. That trip really like opened up something that was like, there's a whole world out here. And like you're preventing yourself from enjoying it because you think you have to have somebody to go to dinner with, or you think you have to have somebody to go to the movies with. And now, like, I do all these things on my own, and it like almost maybe to a fault because I'm like, I want to go do this. And I'm like, all right, let's book it. Let's do it. And it's like, yes, I do want to be able to share that with somebody. Like, I want to share life with somebody. And also, I want to show up for myself in a way that is almost as if what I want, I already have. Does that make sense? So yeah, so I've been to London by myself. I've gone to Spain by myself. Like, I'm not afraid to go grab dinner, here in town if I want to go try a new restaurant or something. Like, I just show up. And I mean, that's again where I think the magic is, because you meet people, you approach it a different way. You're not like so engrossed in conversation with your friend that you don't entertain people who, notice that you're by yourself and want to like befriend you or whatever. And I don't know, there's a lot of magic in that.
I love that. I definitely need to take myself on a trip because I like was out of that breakup and stuff. I kept expecting to go on those romantic trips with him, but I
Mm-hmm.
need to take myself out. I need to take myself dancing, and I need to take your own advice because that is what every woman should be doing.
Yeah. And like you said, it's not always easy. Like, and you can like take a baby step and then, once you feel, more comfortable, then like do something greater. But yeah, isn't it like just a funny concept that we think like in order to go dancing and do like what we want to do, we have to have like somebody to whisk us away to that thing? Like,
Yeah.
it's interesting when we can do that for ourselves. And actually, like what I noticed about solo travel, because you make friends.
Okay.
I mean, I'm an extroverted person, so I have a really easy time, just chatting up a stranger. And then next thing I know, like we're friends for the next, whatever, 20 years and have only met for like an hour, you know, at
Yeah.
some place along the journey. But oh, I lost my train of thought with what I was going to say about that. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I was going to say, like, you get to call all the shots. So it's not like, oh, I don't feel like eating that or whatever. It's like, oh, I get to pick the restaurant and I get to pick the food that I want to have. And oh, I don't feel like getting up before 10 today. Okay, well, then you're sleeping in, like you get to call all the shots, which is, there's something also really fun about that. And not that you can't, have like a you day in a relationship, but like there's just something beautiful about every day on a trip being a you day.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. No, just doing whatever you want.
Yeah.
Just, going to do, like, I want to go to Paris and I want to go do,
Ooh.
like, make croissants there.
Oh, I didn't know there's such a thing, but I love that. Paris is wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Just take your
All the
croissant
bread
making
in Paris.
class.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, so good.
And it's better for you than the bread here, I heard.
Yeah, I definitely would say that. Like, I think everything in Europe is better for you. I feel like the wines, you don't get like any sort of headache or hangover. You see everybody walking with like baguettes, under their arm. But again, they're all walking. And the other thing that is interesting about France is like their refrigerators are pretty small, right? And so there's such just like a lifestyle around buying fresh, produce and things like almost daily, if not just like every couple of days, versus like there's not like a Costco there where you go and get like
Stock
a
up.
month's supply of, whatever. You're buying like fresh ingredients throughout the week to make whatever you're making. And you're often walking wherever you're going, which, sometimes I'm like, why am I not walking to where I'm going? It's not that far, but, but we drive or, whatever. It's funny.
I've been living that life lately without a car, but that's
Yeah.
that's forced upon.
Right, right.
Yes. Okay. So going back to dating in LA. Now, how do you avoid the LA fuckboys?
I don't even, can anybody avoid them?
I don't
I mean,
know.
I don't know. I think at some point in time, we've all fallen victim to one of them, right? Yeah, so I go in phases also where I spend some time on the apps and then I spend some time off the apps. But like if I'm on the app, I really try, even though like, a thirst trap can reel me in just like it can to anybody else. But I'm like, if all you have is like shirtless mirror selfies and things, I'm like, this is probably not it. Like, or, there's just like a certain language that they'll use. And you're like, okay, you're like, it feels so much as if they're like trying to gather the masses versus like find their person. And I'm like, okay, I'm not into that, But if I'm not on the app, what I'm trying to do instead of my old technique, which is, gather all your single girlfriends and go to the bar and, see what you can come up with. I'm like, no, like go do activities that you enjoy. And they can be everyday activities. They don't have to be these things where we like, sure, it's always fun to get like dressed up and to go out, but like when I'm going to the gym, when I'm going to the grocery store, when I'm going to like these things that like everyday real life, that is my everyday real life. So having somebody who also like values those things and values the places that I like to frequent, like how cool would it be to bump into somebody who shares those things in common. But I think often like the difference again between like the energy we put out on a daily basis versus like that energy you tap into when you're on vacation. Do you ever know when you're like on vacation, like you're just so relaxed, maybe you're not like thinking about like, oh my gosh, I gotta like clean the house and do the laundry and like I got 18 things like piling up on me or whatever. You're just like in this chill mode where you're like open for exploring and you just have a different like sense of adventure and way you almost like go about your day. I'm like, how do you replicate that vibe, that mood, and translate it into everyday life? Because if you can do that, I think you attract a different caliber of human. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or even notice when like somebody's that you might want to get their attention or have a connection point with, like you might not see them normally because you're so into your phone or you're so busy trying to get from place A to place B that you like he could be walking by and you don't even see him, It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, so true. Yeah, I am so funny. I feel like talking about vacation, I have to plan the next Instagram. I have to plan the outfits. So for me, I turn vacation into more of a work project, but I need to stop with that. I realized lately, since I don't have my car, I am actually kind of a workaholic. And my therapist is funny. She was like, are you like that also because you call yours like that? And I'm like,
Mhm.
maybe. And then now it's funny because I see him doing the opposite, like working less and going out more and doing more things and stuff. So I'm like, I think we've flip flopped a little bit. But the last time I was fully able to like just be, because I mean, I took the breakup really hard and stuff. And this was like a year ago. Well, like the first time or whatever. I don't know. And I just went to Santa Barbara with my godmom and
Mm.
we literally just walked and did nothing. So
And
that
how did you feel doing that?
weird, but
Did you?
also
Yeah.
there was such a sense of peace. And I also
Mm.
don't know if it was like because Santa Barbara, the energy is different, you know?
Yeah. When you say you went walking and you were doing nothing, like were your feet like in the sand on the beach or
Yeah,
they were, yeah. So I know a lot of people talk about like
grounding.
grounding, if you will, and
Yeah.
like nature can so quickly bring you back to like the present moment. And I think too, probably like if you were listening to like the waves as well, like I feel like that's one of the reasons I really enjoy living near the beach is because it can bring you back to that like place of home so easily, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, so true. And I would like ask the universe for signs. And then
Yes.
I
Oh,
was
I
like,
love it.
yeah, show me a heart-shaped rock. Show me an
Yes.
elephant.
Uh-huh.
And then it would be like, literally, I'll show you this driftwood I found. Are you behind me? Yeah, you are. Okay, scoot back. What does this look like
Oh my gosh. Okay, what does it look like?
to you? Well, like maybe this direction. Like it looks like an elephant to me.
Oh, it does. Yeah, I was gonna say an elephant, or I was actually gonna say maybe a hippo.
It's like an elephant to me, Erin.
I mean, open to interpretation, but I love that. So you asked the universe for a sign, and that's what you got.
Yes, and well, and
Yeah,
then I
but
asked.
did you ask for an elephant specifically?
Yes.
Do you know the spiritual meaning of an elephant?
So I have an elephant tattooed on me,
Oh,
and so like I more so think like Buddhism with Ganesh
okay.
and Maker Ways like Condor, and I okay, so it's really cool too, and it's also like a little connection to Collier too.
Okay. Okay.
So when I was in yoga teacher training, I learned about like all the stories and stuff, but one of the stories that really stood out to me was the story of Ganesh, how his mom Parvita made him from clay, from
Uh-huh.
the jungle. His dad was like out and about and didn't even know he had a son because she made him out of clay. And the dad comes back, Shiva, he comes back and the boy is standing guard for his mom. And the dad actually chops off the head of the boy.
Wow.
And then the mom comes out and is like, "Oh my god, you just killed our son, blah blah blah. You have to fix this." Fixing this in Indian culture, he went out to the jungle, grabbed a baby elephant head, and put it on him. And then
Oh,
when I met Collier, he has Ganesh tattooed on him. And you know Collier's story.
yes. Uh-huh.
So I was like, "You are Ganesh." And what's crazy is he didn't know that story. So like elephants
Oh,
with
wow.
that
Yeah.
relationship has like a symbolism.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I have an elephant tattooed on me too, but that's like before I was even with
Aware
him.
of that all. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Wow.
what is the symbol that you have?
I don't know. I was gonna look it up. I'm really big on looking up spiritual meanings of things, because everything has like a spiritual meaning. So I thought maybe when you asked for that as a sign, you like knew, you know. Let's see. But I am a big person who asks the universe for signs all the time. And I love to play blackout angel number bingo, which is
Okay.
essentially you're like looking for angel numbers all day, you know, and you try to get them all. So like 111, 222, 333, you know, et cetera and so forth. But let's see what this says.
I love it.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. In many cultures, an elephant symbolizes wisdom, strength, good luck, fertility, protection, and a strong memory due to their intelligence and long lifespan. Often seen as a powerful creature capable of removing obstacles and representing the ability to access inner knowledge and higher understanding.
So, remover of obstacles.
I love how you listen to the whole thing and pick out what like rings true. Yeah.
Well, I know it isn't fertility. It's just not going to be that right now. That would be a miracle.
But yeah, I mean, good luck is great. Wisdom, strength, those are all good things. Protection, and I'll take a strong memory. Amen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So elephants, and that's like the good sign and everything. And what are your signs?
So I obviously I feel like a lot of people resonate with this, but I'll ask for like butterflies or hummingbirds. You know, hummingbirds I feel like are definitely a sign of like somebody who's passed on, like a family member. I'll correlate that. But like the sign I asked for when I got my dog was an owl, weirdly enough. Yeah, I asked for an owl and I saw one within like 2 hours of the ask, which I was like, okay, like I'm meant to have, you know, Murphy. And even my car. So I've had my car for a while, so don't come at me because it is a Tesla. I know a lot of people are like very upset about that right now. But I was trying to decide between a Tesla or a Range Rover Evoque, and I know that's like a trivial thing, but I've been in the car business for a very long time, and typically like I've had to drive the type of car for the manufacturer place that I've worked for. For instance, when I worked for Honda, I had like 9 Honda Accords in like 10 years. And I'm like, okay, we're done with that. We've exhausted that. And so I asked the universe for a dinosaur. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to see a dinosaur. Like, why would I see a dinosaur? Like, one, they're extinct, and two, like, like I don't have kids or anything. Why would I see a dinosaur? And it was so cool. So it was like 4 days after I had asked, right? And I was actually, I needed to make a decision before my current lease was up. And so I was on like a bit of a timetable. So it was like, well, if I don't see it, you know, within the week or whatever, I'm going to, you know, go in another direction. And on day 4, I get a text message from my friend Brent. It's a picture of his kid in the park with no context whatsoever. It's just like a photo. And I'm like, dude, why is this guy sending me a picture of his kid? Like, this is weird. Like, is there a follow-up? Like, is he going to be like, hey, check out, you know, my son, da-da-da. Nothing comes of it, right? But then I look at it a little closer and I'm like, oh my gosh, his kid's wearing like a dinosaur onesie. And I'm like, so I immediately text back and I'm like, hey, is Evan wearing, you know, dinosaurs? And he doesn't respond. And I'm like, what is happening? So I pick up the phone and I call him and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like that was meant for my wife because her name's also Erin. And I was like, okay, makes sense now. Like he's sending his wife a picture of their kid. And I'm like, but you didn't answer my question. I'm like, what is he wearing? And he's like, I don't know, like Brontosaurus Rex or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's all I need to know. And then I was like, got my car. And then I made it pink. So that was basically the whole point of that. I only wanted it, like, I wanted the car because I wanted to make it pink. So yeah.
Oh my God. Wait, you have a pink Tesla? I love that. I love that.
Me too. And I know a lot of people don't like it right now, but I'm like, just love the pink Tesla. It brings joy. It sparks joy wherever I go.
Yeah, no, I don't have too many feelings about Elon Musk. I mean, I don't have too many feelings about a lot of people, to be honest.
Me neither. That's probably a whole nother discussion. But yeah, I'm not like emotionally charged by him. I freaking love the car. Like I do think like dog mode, like until if you have a dog and you like until you experience dog mode, like that is so ingenious. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can take Murphy with me to like go run errands and things, and I leave him in the car and the air is blowing on him and he's like at a brisk 68 degrees and happy as a clam in there. And like on the little screen, it tells everybody who approaches the car, like, don't worry, my owner will be right back. It's 68 in here. Like
Yeah.
I've got it made.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like well, like people tell me stuff about Eli Musk, and I'll be like, okay, I kind of understand. Yeah. Like I get it. But then dog mode, that alone.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know why other cars aren't catching on to dog mode, right? Like it is genius. It is genius.
Yes, there's times where I wish I did actually have a Tesla for that reason alone, because I will go in the store, leave my car on.
Oh, you will?
Yeah, with the keys in it. I just like hide
Oh
the
my gosh.
keys, and then I'm like,
Okay.
it's gonna get stolen. And oh my God, Erin.
What would you do though if your dog gets stolen? You would not be okay.
A funny story. So this is like probably like 2 years ago, because I was with Collier during this time. And I go get a juice at this place called Thrive. And I go in, then I come out, and I'm like, and I left my car on too.
Okay.
And I come in and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't see my dog anywhere. Someone stole my dog. Freaking out, go into the store, tell them someone stole my dog. We need to call the cops. And I go through all of this, and then I realize that I left my dog home in the crate.
Okay. That takes the cake.
And I was like sending Collier some frantic messages. I think he was in a meeting or something. I'm like, oh my God, I just lost this dog. And then like he calls me, and I'm like, everything's actually fine.
I left him at home. Yeah. Which is why, like, with the microchipping, I wish like it was almost like a tracking device so you know where like it's so silly that it's like no, somebody has to bring the dog to the vet for them to tell you like I have your dog versus like it being like a low jack or whatever that just like totally
Right? Right? Right?
yeah.
Yes. No, this is so true. We need LoJack on our dogs.
We do. Like how you have like find my iPhone or like find my AirPods. Like, yeah, we just need the dog location right on there.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
actually do know a few people that put air tags on their
On
dogs'
their dogs.
collars,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
think that's probably a good idea. Yeah. I should
Yeah.
probably look into that.
Yeah, so we'll do that instead for the moment. Yes. I feel like I could talk to you for hours, though. I don't want to take up
Aw.
too much of your time. But why don't we talk a little bit about like tips on what to do if you're dating in LA, and then we'll go into the Patreon part and maybe talk about some of our own experiences.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think whether you're dating in LA or whether you're dating anywhere, like obviously there's the side of tips like be safe, like have, a friend know your location, like speaking of air tags, you know what I mean? Yeah, cuz we just don't know who we're talking to, and I don't know if you're privy, and I don't even know if you're allowed to say it out loud, but there is the Facebook group about, like are we
Are we
dating.
dating the same guy?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's a certain balance of being a member of the group. And also, like, if you're just in there all day long, it could not be so great for mental health and also wanting to put yourself out there. So it could be quite discouraging.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then I just stay true to what it is that you really want. And so if that's also something that's like, well, I don't know what I want, then I also think like, take some time to really think about that because otherwise I think it's really difficult to kind of navigate like, is this in alignment for me or is it not? And I think once you kind of know what you're looking for, then it makes things a lot easier because I do think things can present and be like breadcrumbs of what's to come. And there can also be tests along the way. Like, this is the type of guy that Erin used to go for. So I'm going to throw, him into the mix and see what she does with it. Is she still entertaining that? Or has she decided, like, nope, that's really not what I'm looking for. So therefore, I'm going to say, like, sorry, we're not aligned. And then open myself up for something that is truly in alignment with what I'm looking for and like where I want to go relationship wise.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, I've been with a lot of breadcrumbers.
Yeah, I know, me too. And I mean, I love a carb, so it makes sense. But I'm like, like,
Oh my
I'm like, we
God.
gotta be getting close. We gotta be getting close, you know? Yeah.
Yes, yes, so true.
Yeah.
Well, where can we find you on social media for the people that are dropping off here?
Absolutely. So my Instagram handle is You're Such a Catch. So it's YOURE, such a catch. And that's synonymous for all the different platforms. I've been having fun on Threads lately. I don't know if you use Threads, but yeah, I like it. I like threading during like Love is Blind or Married at First Sight or whatever. I find that fun to, because I'm like, who am I going to discuss this with? I need somebody. Yeah, join the conversation there and talk to me about Love is Blind because, yeah, I'm here for it.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm trying to get Nick on the podcast actually. And Roberta had him on her, so like he's got to come on mine, right? Well, thank you so much, Erin. We'll get into the Patreon portion. Thank you, baddies, for listening to today's episode with Erin Ramsey. If you like this episode, please give 5 stars, write a good review. If you give us some feedback, we always like some feedback, but hit us up with a compliment too, because we need a little bit of a balance. So until next time, my name is Tara Newell, and see you guys later.